down on one of the most iconic of maps in the history of StarCraft 2. For better or for worse, I wasn't a huge fan of this map at the start, but we have neither player producing a worker. Before we even introduce our players, neither has built... Okay, there's our very first worker. On the other side, we have John, who is AFK. So John is AFK. On the other side, we have a pylon first. Anyway, so John... We're just going to go ahead and... Oh, John's back. All right, 35 seconds. Not too bad. As Phoenix getting his pylon out and prioritizing a spray at the top of the ramp. Just bring that beautiful, beautiful tab up as we got the first gate. And looks like John had a stroke. He's back to doing whatever he was doing. Okay. All right. So John. Okay, he's back. Okay. A lot of Alt-Tab action. And, of course, the classic engineering bay to kick things off alongside the depot. You know it's going to be good when it starts with an engineering bay. Thank you, Volley Josh. On the other side, we do have something that resembles a gateway expand out of Phoenix here. Well, he had the Nexus. He decided against it. That wasn't off-center, was it? Would it even mattered? Will he make enough workers for it to matter? That's another argument entirely. But we do have the barracks queued up as well. The engineering bay is done. I'm not sure what he's going to do with it. But maybe we do have a TPM record, okay? And every time I see an engineering bay early, I look at someone who knows what TPM is all about. Of course, for the uninitiated, TPM, of course, is the most important statistic in Bronze League Heroes. It is turrets per minute, which could also mean cannons or spine crawlers, but usually turrets per minute, and is an indication of how focused a player is on turning the game into a campaign mission on normal difficulty. So we're going to have to see. He does have the engineering bay and several barracks. No gas yet out of John here. As I say it, proving me wrong, the caster curse. The Forge is on the way. He does have a Cyber Core finished. Unfortunately for him, he is now realizing you do actually need to have Vespene gas in order to do anything with a Cyber Core whatsoever. Oh! The SCV's a cold-blooded killer, but the revenge is coming out. You killed my father, and now you are going... You blocked me on Facebook, and now you're going to die. Well, actually, it looks like he's going to get away, so he's going to be fine. Unfortunately, there are no Marines at home, so we're going to follow this intense chase here as the probe hunting him down. He has blood in his eyes and anger in his heart. I'm not even entirely convinced he has a heart, but whatever a probe, his central processing... Yo! He turns back. Forgiveness is given. Never say. And artificial intelligence cannot have mercy because Phoenix is now showing it. We went through a roller coaster of emotions here in just a few seconds. And that SCV making the most of his life. He used to spend his life in the mines. All right. He used to spend his life in the mines. He knew no other life. Oh, he was mining minerals since he was but a new, fresh SCV straight out of the command center. He knew nothing else. But then he was sent into battle. He was sent into war. He killed an enemy worker. He himself was so close to death. He felt it breathing down his neck. And he's not going back to the mines. Not after what he's seen, not after what he's done. He has to make something of himself. And what he's making is another command center. And that, my friends, is a StarCraft Cinderella story. He pulled himself up by his robotic bootstraps, and now he builds the natural expansion. We do see a proxy pylon in the most obvious location to ever make a proxy pylon, which is... Anyways, no real gas units yet. Looks like we got some probes on strike over here in solidarity for their fallen worker on the other side. Some cannons up as well. The cannons, the CPM is raising. With the TPM is still depressingly non-existent. As Warp Gate has been researched. A Stargate is done as well. So as we continue to see the tension build, we've got 3 workers going out to make sure this base becomes a factor. Unfortunately for him, looks like his workers have been put back to work. We don't tolerate unemployment in the Protoss army. All right. The first Oracle. A bit on the later side. But as my mother said, better late than never. Not sure what I meant by that. But we do see a single turret, and that might be the most important one. Look at this. Nearly prescient level. A turret directly where the Oracle was going to click to. The future hacks here. Not even map hacks, future hacks. As he's going to gun down the Oracle, it activates. But instead, the only turret on the field will gun it down with 0 kills. Was that 0? Yes, 0 kills. The mind hacks. As John, he might not have been here for the first 35 seconds of the game, and I can only assume he was meditating to have such foresight for what was to come. We have another base out of Phoenix who, well, what he lacks in workers, he makes up for in Nexi, which isn't really an interchangeable commodity, but one step at a time. All right, the second turret is on the way. He's got another one as the TPM has raised. No orbitals. That's all right. That way he can do some jump into the command center into worker lift micro that we've all come to love. A fleet beacon is on the way. So I am just going to flip a coin. Let's see. I don't have a coin, but I have a water bottle lid. If it's heads, then it's carriers. If it's tails, then it's Tempest. So heads. Carriers, it's going to be. I honestly don't know if he even knows what a Tempest is. So let's see if the water bottle lid has predicted the future. As he's already prefaced this with a chrono boost. As both these supplies actually in favor of John. As he's successfully produced 38 Marines. Does it lie? As he has enough money to build pretty much whatever he wants, but we're going to stare at this Stargate until something happens. Anyways, the attack is going forward. The naked Marines will walk forward slowly and just gun down everything in their path. So, Not really much of a fight there. An interesting queue up as well. Doing a little bit of a victory lap. And then going back to the newly making... And carriers it is! This will carry him to victory. As Phoenix, not going by his namesake, but instead looking towards the stars. And we still see no factory yet, but plenty of barracks. He knows what works, and he's sticking with it. I do not believe... It looks like these are all reactors. As it does seem John doesn't have a very... He knows what he wants. Let's say that. And what he wants are... dozens upon hundreds of naked, unupgraded Marines. And you can't fault a man for that. All right. Getting the high-sec auto-tracking, the range for the turrets and the planetaries, as well as a planetary fortress at the second base. We got some forward cannons here out of Phoenix. As both these players ramp up into a nearly 4-base economy, what they will do with it is anyone's guess. Do I have to get the water bottle lid out again? But we do see +2 attack being upgraded for the one carrier. So really investing in his flagship here. This is the PSS Pro Gamer. All right. That I could have made a better joke there, but you know what's a better joke than that? Protoss. All right. So going forward, it looks like Phoenix at least has read the Prima strategy guide. He does know the tech tree. As we see the Robo Bay on the way, the Graviton Catapult, +1 armor, as well as a handful more gateways. Even throw a Twilight Council in there. Oh, and the delay! With no seconds on the clock. The 87 Marines might be enough to deal with this, though. The carrier, not as effective as he was hoping for, as the Marines simply gunned everything out of the sky. And the delay, but the delay on the command center is real. Not that he really has enough money to care. With 1,700 minerals and 3,200 gas in the bank, the TPM will raise. That one carrier has prompted a dramatic response. So, if John decided to put his efforts into attacking directly right now, no matter what the upgrades, I think there's just enough bodies. There's enough boots on the ground. John with some very interesting rally point options here, too. That he could just overwhelm his opponent with sheer numbers. Phoenix, for what he lacks in capacity to make a significant number of units, the units he is making, he is upgrading, and are of high tech. He has carriers, he has immortals, he has upgraded adepts, so they're worth their weight in golden minerals here. Every one of these that dies, 10 Marines will go down. Unfortunately, he pretty much literally has 10 Marines for every unit. So there is there are 12 units out here for Phoenix and 104 Marines. So that's almost an even trade if that's the metric we're using. So we're going to have to see how that pans out. As Phoenix expanding to a 5th Nexus, he has 4,200 minerals, 900 gas in the bank. John with 2,500, 3,900. As I don't usually pause, but he killed the rocks, took down the rock tower, then killed the rocks again. The rocks that fell. John knows no bounds. He will not be caught between a rock and a hard place. In fact, he's going to make sure he's not rocked out of anything. As the Marines do their firing ritual around this rock face. The cannon push continues forward. As the unit composition, a very complicated Protoss army, kind of lacking in meat. This is kind of like your entire army being made out of, like, appetizers here. Like, you're just kind of eating an a la carte meal. Like, I'll take a carrier, take an immortal. Could I get, like, a few adepts on the side? All right. But what would you like for your entree, sir? Cannons. We don't usually serve cannons here. Could you pick another? I would like cannons. Sir, cannons are not cannons. All right, sir. Cannons it is. All right. As we have +3 air weapons, blink, anion pulse crystals for his 0 phoenixes. I repeat, phoenix range for his 0 phoenixes, +2 shields, 1 carrier, 1 disruptor, and 3 sentries. As John is now maxed out, he's getting personal cloaking and a nuclear missile for his 0 ghosts, which he can't produce because he doesn't have a goddamn tech lab barracks. You're still making depots. John, you're maxed out.
Hi, Winter.
Hi. He's got... he has 1-1 upgrades. He just now built his very first factories. He's moving up. The Industrial Revolution took its time. But he's finally got some factories here. As the carriers do move forward. And John's stepping forward. And doing the target fire. 1. No, wait. Does he get the carrier? He gets the interceptors. But the carrier will survive for now. Is that the flagship? Is that the PSS Pro Gamer? A planetary fortress, a pretty hard counter to zealots, and so are literally 128 Marines. And the upgrades continue as +2 shields is nearly completed. +2 air armor for our 4 carriers going on 5, and interceptors as well, as John is content. John is a very simple man. Alright, John is my kind of man. He gets 6 bases, he gets 130 Marines, he gets money in the bank, and then he retires. There's no need to use all this fancy new tech that you kids are using nowadays. Who needs fucking starports or factories? Alright, I like my Nokia phone. I like my typewriter. I like my MS-DOS. Okay, I like my solitaire. Who needs these fancy video games, these cannons on the other side of the map, these disruptors? What are disruptors even? Who needs a disruptor? Back in my day, we had dragoons. Dragoons were like the retarded stepchild of a gorilla and a rock. Okay? And they had about as much pathing capability. And we liked it. Okay? So why do kids these days need all these tier 3 units and their cannon rushes and their +3 shields? Alright. Oh my god. Well, that was underwhelming. As 1 carrier going to inevitably fall as the interceptors are ground down. The disruptors all fire. But unfortunately, all fired into the same spot, so that was a bit of overkill there, and some war crimes are definitely being committed here. But it appears the Marines are in position to still snipe off these massive tech units. And the disruptors are moving forward. The force fields are there. They're not really stopping the Marines from firing at anything. In fact, the force fields are hurting the Protoss more than the Terran up until that exact second, where the disruptors and the cannons have disrupted his entire day. John's rally point gives no fucks. As we see, the force fields once again just forcing a discussion on the real usage of force fields in the modern world, as opposed to actually forcing any sort of response as he shoots his own disruptor in the face with his own disruptor. But these carriers, remember, it's 3-2 versus 1-1. As John continues to make Marines. He does have 3,300 minerals. He does still have 109 supply. And he's making, if at first you don't succeed, going with the Red Army strategy here, it seems. As effectively, at this point, the Marines are nearly firing blanks. They're up against +2 armor and +2 shields on pretty much every unit on the field. So these Marines are doing between like 4 and 2 damage, depending on the math and exactly how much shields and HP. So as John has somehow evened up the supplies, but I have a suspicion now that Phoenix has survived for the last 20 minutes, that will no longer be the case for very long. Alright, this is kind of like a zombie movie at this point. This is some World War Z shit where they just keep coming. Alright. The Zealots are being whooped, and he now has a buffer of a handful of units. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to place a bet right now. I'm not betting anything, but I'm going to place a bet nonetheless. I bet that more Zealots will die to Disruptors than die to Marines. Alright, we'll see if I'm right. As the Zealots, well, if he just kind of sends the Zealots out on their own, you know, that kind of ruins the joke. If he just... Well, I take it back. Can I take it back? Out of... Well, that's one way that they won't die to Disruptors. I'll give him that. As John once again takes the supply lead. And then... John is at 215 or 200 APM here. He's actually... Yeah, his average APM 61 to 58. So, he's making a lot of Marines. That was a very optimistic Disruptor hit there. Going fishing, unfortunately, the lake had already dried up. I love the combination usage of the spellcasters, the force fields, the disruptor control. Just gotta make sure those force fields are extra forceful by laying them on top of one another. That way they look even stronger. It's like putting bars on your doors in Detroit. As John, his forces and his morale seems to be thinning, though his bank does not. As 305 Marines have lost their lives, he has lost 17,088 minerals and 37 gas of units. So, 37 whole gas. That's devastating to someone who only has 10,000 gas in the bank now. Whatever will he do? I appreciate his commitment to mining all the resources. Unfortunately, he has not yet teched up to metallurgy, or whatever sort of alchemy would be required to transform gas into minerals so he could make more Marines to die to carriers. But I'm sure he'll get there soon. Alright, yeah, yep. Yep. Those force fields were an extra slap in the face. Alright. Got some more disruptor hits. Very necessary disruptor hits, I might add. Airballing it like Shaq with free throws, but I mean, he hit some of them, and so do these disruptors. I don't know. A sentry does go down. And John, our valiant warrior. Let's return. I need to see. 398 Marines later. What other statistics can I have here? I forget all the statistics, but Units lost. Modern leader battle. Best of. I don't know all these fancy... Oh, I could do that. That's real cinematic. It looks makes me look weird, though. Anyways. So, 400 Marines, 42 Zealots, 5 Immortals, 2 Colossi, 3 Carriers, 180 Interceptors, 5 Adepts, 5 Stalkers, 4 Disruptors, a Void Ray, an Oracle, 4 Sentries, a Cannon, and 2 Pylons later. John will be forced to tap out, putting up a strong fight. But eventually, Phoenix wins the